that a right word? Credence? Like,
Makes sense in my brain.
is there any legitimacy to the thought that maybe at times the Lord's quiet because it's time for us just to hold on to what he's either pressing harder or to hold on to what he's already spoken, what he's already revealed to us, and like it's now our turn to take the action of faith, and he's just being quiet so that we have room to grow?
I think there's a lot of precedent for that in the Old Testament, that like God has said it, and when the people didn't respond, he didn't often say it again. They came back to the realization that God had already spoken. So I think we've got a lot of, especially Old Testament precedent for that, for sure.
That's good. You know, that's one thing. I mean, you and Isaac and I were talking about that this week. It's like when we look at Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, the ministry, we've all talked about this, but Isaac and I were talking about this week. We look at Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, the ministry, it's like there's so many opportunities for us and so many avenues that we could go with this ministry beyond the podcast, you know, the events we do and the partnerships and the places we want to go set up and all the different thoughts, things. We're always talking about, okay, we always kind of like try to check back in with the original revelation we felt like we had for this ministry. Mm-hmm. So it's like, does this new idea, concept, direction, does it fit that what God spoke originally? And if it doesn't, is he leading us in a new direction? So it's like this kind of always, to what Lucas was saying, it's kind of always testing it back towards what the Lord did speak, because we all had agreement and unity and alignment and many confirmations on that. So it's like, as we move forward, okay, well, test it with that. Okay, if it doesn't line up, is this a new like addition, direction that we're supposed to take this thing? You know, it's just an example, I think, to kind of how we utilize that same thing.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Cool.
I don't know. I also think too, if like, I mean, we're just fumbling through this morning. Just if you're out there listening, I'm sure, unless you're, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that are way further down the road than us. But if you're not, or you relate to that feeling of like, man, I'm not feeling the Lord, whatever, just know you're not alone, because we feel the same way at times, but also you're literally not alone.